In the previous lesson, Ashley and Ichiro met on a flight to Tokyo and they introduced themselves. Remember? Ashley said,
私はアシュリーです。
I'm Ashley. And Ichiro said,
僕はトヨタ一郎です。
I'm Ichiro Toyota. In this lesson, we'll learn how to ask the question, where are you from? And we'll also learn how to answer it. As always, before each conversation, we'll give you the background, the setting to the conversation. This conversation is between
アシュリーさんとイチローさん。
Ashley and Ichiro. They're on the airplane and in mid-flight. They're now talking about their hometowns. As they're not yet friends, they'll be using
formal Japanese.
Let's listen to the conversation.
トヨタ一郎さん。
はい、トヨタです。
トヨタさん、それはスマップですか？
はい。
スマップの歌ですか？
はい。スマップの歌です。アシュリーさんの出身はニューヨークですか？
はい。トヨタさんの出身はどこですか？
僕の出身は東京です。
トヨタさんは学生ですか？
ありがとうございます。でも違います。
One time slowly.
トヨタ一郎さん。
はい。トヨタです。
トヨタさん。それはスマップですか？
はい。
スマップの歌ですか？
はい。スマップの歌です。アシュリーさんの出身はニューヨークですか？
はい。トヨタさんの出身はどこですか？
僕の出身は東京です。
トヨタさんは学生ですか？
ありがとうございます。でも違います。
Now with the English translation.
トヨタ一郎さん。
Ichiro Toyota-san.
はい、
Yes?
トヨタです。
Just Toyota is fine.
トヨタさん、それはスマップですか？
Toyota-san, is that SMAP?
はい、
I'm sorry?
スマップの歌ですか？
Is that song by SMAP?
はい。スマップの歌です。
Oh, yes. It's a song by SMAP.
アシュリーさんの出身はニューヨークですか？
Are you from New York?
はい。トヨタさんの出身はどこですか？
Yes. Where are you from?
僕の出身は東京です。
I'm from Tokyo.
トヨタさんは学生ですか？
Are you a student?
ありがとうございます。
Why, thank you very much.
でも違います。
But no, I'm not.
スマップ。SMAP.
Now, we briefly mentioned SMAP in the All About Japanese series, Lesson 10. The members of SMAP are some of the most popular and well-recognized pop icons in Japan, right?
I think you can say that. They're not the best singers nor best actors, but they're very, very popular.
They seem like they can do a little bit of everything.
そうですね。Right. I would say they're very balanced entertainers.
Okay, so it's important not just to be able to speak a language, but culture plays such an important part in making connections with people. So it's your task not only to study the Japanese language, but also culture. Well, nowadays, pop culture. So I have a question about the first line. When Ashley says, Toyota Ichiro-san, Ichiro laughs and says,
トヨタです。
what happened there?
That's because in Japanese, calling somebody by their full name is not very common. Sounds a bit strange, I would say. I think in Korea, though, they call someone by full name, but we don't do that in Japan.
Interesting. So we should make a distinction here. I think a lot of people, in order to help themselves remember something, will repeat something aloud. That's fine.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, Toyota Ichiro took his last name,
Right.
Toyota, and then added.
です.
So, call me Toyota.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the vocabulary. First word.
歌 song 歌 歌
Next.
出身
hometown
出身出身
Next.
でも
but however
でも
Next.
学生
student
学生学生
Next.
違います
to differ incorrect
違います違います
Let's have a closer look at the usage for some of the words and phrases from this lesson. Naomi-sensei, what's the first word we're going to look at?
出身
Hometown. Shushin refers to the place where one originally came from.
Please take a look at the kanji. 出身 The first kanji, 出 means to leave or to come out. And the second kanji, 身 means body.
So the place one's body comes from.
Mm.
That's hometown. Now, be very careful with this pronunciation. It's a little tricky, I'll be very honest. It's not shushin, short vowel, but it's,
出身
there's a slight pause in there. Shushin.
There's a small stop sound in the middle. 出身出身
Next we have
それ
that, as in that one near you,
Next we have それ
meaning that, when talking about an item that's a little bit beyond the speaker's reach.
and close to the listener.
Of course, if we talk about that, we have to talk about,
です。
and in Japanese that is.
これ
Now this is within the speaker's reach.
Right. And there's one more word for that in Japanese.
In English we have this and that, but in Japanese there's also,
あれ
meaning that over there.
for something far from both listeners and the speaker. In grammar terms, これ、それ、あれ are called demonstrative pronouns.
There you go again, using big words to refer to nouns that just refer to location of things depending on how far they are from the speaker. There's a detailed write-up and chart in Appendix 9, all about Japanese demonstratives. They're also known as koso-ado words, but we'll get into that later. For now, just memorize these three words.
これ、
This one,
それ、
that one,
あれ、
that one over there. The next word is
学生.
student.
The second part has two syllables, which are せい. But it's せ. 学生.
It's a long vowel. Naomi-sensei, sample sentence please.
私は学生です.
I am a student. Gakusei means student in general.
そうですね. Right. In the lesson notes, you can find the chart for students. For example, junior high school student or middle school student is 中学生.
So, I'm a junior high school student would be,
私は中学生です. High school student is 高校生.
I'm a high school student.
私は高校生です.
On to the grammar section. In this lesson, you'll learn how to ask, where are you from? And how to answer the question, where are you from?
You'll also learn how to express possession, such as my, your, our, Peter's.
Which, by the way, is much easier than in English.
Right.
First, let's start with how to describe things that belong to you or other people. How do you say my, as in my name?
私の. You've already learned 私 is I, right? And no is a particle that indicates possession.
So, watashi is I. If you follow watashi with the particle,
No,
it becomes my.
right.
I,
私
my.
私の. 私の also means mine. I think this particle no is similar to apostrophe s in English.
So, watashi no means my or mine.
Right. ピーターの ubi,
Peter's,
ナオミの ubi.
Naomi's. This possessive particle no is used after a noun, indicating that the noun possesses something. I think we can illustrate this really clearly with an example. Naomi-sensei?
名前 is name in Japanese. So, 私の名前
My name. So how do you say, my name is Ashley?
私の名前はアシュリーです。
Let's break down that sentence. First we have
私の
my
名前
name. So together we have
私の名前
my name,
and we have は
topic marking particle. It's like as for or the pause we always speak about. So what do we have so far?
私の名前は
As for my name or my name. Next,
アシュリ
Ashley
ーです。
is. Remember, des is the polite form of the copula and roughly corresponds to the English is, am, are. So let's put it all together.
私の名前はアシュリーです。
As for my name, Ashley is. So literally it'd be something along the lines of my name, Ashley. But we translate it as my name is Ashley.
So, in my case, 私の名前はナオミです。My name is Naomi.
And in my case, 私の名前は Peter Galante です. My name is Peter Galante. So now you know two ways to say your name. If your name is Sarah, you could say,
私はサラです。I'm Sarah.
or
私の名前はサラです。My name is Sarah.
both sentences are correct, just a different way of saying it. Okay, on to the next grammar point. So, Naomi-sensei, how do you say I'm from New York in Japanese?
In Japanese, we say, my hometown is New York, rather than I'm from New York. So, if you're from New York, the sentence would be, 私の出身はニューヨークです。
Let's break down that sentence.
私の
My
出身
hometown,
は
topic marking particle. So,
私の出身は
as for my hometown,
ニューヨーク
New York
です。
is. Naomi-sensei, put it all together.
私の出身はニューヨークです。
As for my hometown, New York is. And when we translate to proper English, my hometown is New York. There's an important sentence structure here, right?
Right.
What's that structure?
私の出身は such and such です。
I'm from such and such. My hometown is such and such.
Right.
For example, what if someone's hometown was London?
私の出身はロンドンです。
My hometown is London. How about Sydney, Australia?
私の出身はシドニーです。
So now you know how to talk about where you're from. Naomi-sensei, let's change the subject of the sentence. How do you say Ashley is from New York?
So you have to say Ashley's hometown is New York. Ashley's hometown would be アシュリーの出身。So that would be アシュリーの出身はニューヨークです。Or you can put son after Ashley's name and say アシュリーさんの出身はニューヨークです。
Let's break down that sentence. First we have
アシュリーさん
Ms. Ashley or Ashley.
の
Possessive particle that corresponds to the apostrophe S in English. So put them together we have
アシュリーさんの
Ms. Ashley's
出身
hometown,
は
topic marking particle. As for Ms. Ashley's hometown,
ニューヨーク
New York
です。
is. As for Ashley's hometown, New York. Ashley's hometown is New York.
As we learned in a previous lesson, adding か to the end of the sentence turns it into a question. So, アシュリーさんの出身はニューヨークですか?
Is Ashley's hometown New York? Or is Ashley from New York? In that case, you just have to add ka to the sentence to make it into a question.
If you want to ask where she's from, replace ニューヨーク with どこ where. アシュリーさんの出身はどこですか?
Literally, as for Ashley's hometown, where is? Ashley's hometown is where? Or where is Ashley from?
Or could be where are you from, Ashley? If you're talking to Ashley.
Can we hear the sentence one more time?
アシュリーさんの出身はどこですか?
Where's Ashley from? Or where are you from, Ashley?
ピーターさんの出身はどこですか? Where are you from, Peter?
私の出身はニューヨークです。I'm from New York. Now, Naomi Sensei put Peter san no Peters in front of
出身
and I put
私の
in front of shushin. However, when it's clear whose hometown you're talking about, you can drop them, right?
Right. If we were already talking, I could say 出身はどこですか?
Literally, hometown is where? That's a literal translation. But again, the speaker's implying your hometown. And when you reply, you can leave out the subject too because it's already implied. So the answer would be 出身はニューヨークです. I'm from New York. In Japanese, many things are implied by the speaker and inferred by the listeners. So many times the subject of the topic will be left out. Once it's established, you can talk about that without repeating it. Okay, let's recap with the quiz. The quiz will be multiple choice. We'll give you a question and 3 possible answers. Your job is to guess the answer, okay? First question. How do you say hometown in Japanese? A,
出身
B,
先生
C.
学生
The answer is
A 出身
hometown. Naomi Sensei,
はい
what's choice B?
先生
Which means teacher. And how about choice C?
学生
Which means student. Okay, next question. What does the following word mean?
どこ A
Song.
B
That one.
C
Where?
The answer is
C. Where? Choice A. Song in Japanese is.
歌
Choice B. That one in Japanese is.
それ or あれ
That does it for this lesson. In the next lesson, you'll find out what Ichiro's occupation is.
So that means you learn how to talk about your occupation. じゃあまた See you again.
Listen to the entire conversation once again.
豊田一郎さん
はい、トヨタです。
豊田さんそれはスマップですか?
はい。
スマップの歌ですか?
ああ、はい。スマップの歌です。アシュリーさんの出身はニューヨークですか?
はい豊田さんの出身はどこですか?
僕の出身は東京です。
豊田さんは学生ですか?
ありがとうございます。でも違います。
Practice with the review track.
歌
Song.
歌歌出身
Hometown.
出身出身でも
But, however.
でもでも
Where.
どこどこどこ
Tokyo, current capital of Japan.
東京とうきょう東京
Student.
学生がくせい学生
To differ. Incorrect.
違います違います違います
Lesson 4.
An American businesswoman, Ashley, is on an airplane and talking with Ichiro Toyota. In the previous lesson, you found out where they were from.
Right. Ashley said she was from New York and Ichiro said 僕の出身は東京です.
I'm from Tokyo. In this lesson, you'll find out what Ichiro does for a living.
Also, in this lesson's dialogue, you'll learn more about the usage of お願いします and learn some new adjectives.
As we mentioned, This conversation takes place on an airplane. And this conversation is between 3 people, right?
はい。Right. アシュリーさん、
Ashley,
豊田一郎さん、
Mr. Ichiro Toyota,
and フライトアテンダント。
flight attendant. What kind of Japanese are they using?
Formal Japanese.
Now, before we listen to the conversation, we recommend that you reference All About Japanese Lesson 5.
僕はフォトジャーナリストです。
すごい。
アシュリーさんは？
Black tea, coffee, or Japanese tea?
あ、日本茶お願いします。
日本茶ですね。はい、どうぞ。お客様は？
紅茶お願いします。
お砂糖とミルクは？
お願いします。あっち！
大丈夫ですか？暑いですか？あちまずいです。し
One time slowly.
僕はフォトジャーナリストです。
へえ、すごい。
アシュリーさんは？
ブラックティー、コーヒー、or ジャパニーズティー。
あ、日本茶お願いします。
日本茶ですね。はい、どうぞ。お客様は？
紅茶お願いします。
お砂糖とミルクは？
お願いします。あち。
大丈夫ですか？暑いですか？あち。まずいです。
し。
Now with the English translation.
僕はフォトジャーナリストです。
I'm a photojournalist.
へえ、すごい。
Oh, wow.
アシュリーさんは？
How about you?
Black tea, coffee, or Japanese tea?
Black tea, coffee, or Japanese tea?
あ、日本茶お願いします。
Oh, Japanese tea, please.
日本茶ですね。はい、どうぞ。
Japanese tea, here you are.
お客様は？
How about you, sir?
紅茶お願いします。
Black tea, please.
お砂糖とミルクは？
Would you like sugar and milk?
お願いします。
Yes, please.
あち。
It's hot.
大丈夫ですか？
Are you okay?
暑いですか？
It's hot?
あち。
It's hot.
まずいです。
It tastes awful.
Naomi sensei,
はい。
Japanese people are adopting a lot of foreign words, right?
そうですね。That's right. Yeah, in the dialogue we had フォトジャーナリスト、
Photojournalist,
それから and ミルク。
milk. But I thought gyunyu was milk.
Right. But for some reason, we never say 牛乳茶 for milk tea.
Ah.
When you're talking about milk in the carton, I think we tend to use 牛乳 instead of milk. But if it's became a part of the product's name, we tend to use ミルク instead.
And the pronunciation is very different.
Ah, right.
In English, we say milk.
We say ミルク.
Miruku. 3 syllables, right?
Right. You have to pronounce every syllable with the same length.
Say it one more time.
ミルク。ミルク。
Again, I think native English speakers or English speakers do have an advantage when learning Japanese after they hit critical mass. Meaning once you understand enough Japanese for these loan words, these katakana words to make sense, all of a sudden it'll open up your vocabulary drastically. But to say an English word in the Japanese way, you need to slow it down a bit, and you have to pronounce every syllable.
ああ、そうですね。Right.
But before we move on to the vocab section, I'd like to remind you that we talked about sugoi in All About Japanese Lesson 13.
You can use すごい to show that you're interested or impressed.
Or just to show that you're at least listening.
Like an interjection?
Again, we covered this in some of the previous lessons, the idea of aizuchi, interjections to acknowledge you're listening. Okay, on to the vocabulary. First word.
日本茶
Japanese tea.
にほん茶日本茶
Next.
お客様
Customer.
お客さまお客様
Next.
砂糖
Sugar.
さとう砂糖
Next.
大丈夫
All right. Okay.
だいじょうぶ大丈夫
Next.
暑い
Hot.
あつい暑い
Let's have a closer look at the usage for some of the words and phrases from this lesson. Naomi-sensei, what's the first word we'll look at?
砂糖.
Sugar.
In the dialogue, the flight attendant put お in front of 砂糖 and said お砂糖. This is called 美化語, a word beautification. By adding お in front of a noun, it makes it more polite and beautiful.
O is a polite prefix. Now, please note that you cannot attach O to all the nouns. But for today, just remember,
お砂糖
is a polite way to say
砂糖
sugar. Now, you'll come across both
お砂糖 and 砂糖
in daily conversation. Again, this polite prefix, O, it's just making the word that much more polite. Naomi-sensei, can you think of another noun that we can use the prefix O with to make it more polite?
茶
Tea,
becomes お茶
which is the polite way to say tea.
Right.
Sushi is another popular one.
Ah. Sushi becomes お寿司
The next word is
茶
tea. In this lesson's dialogue, the names of two different teas are introduced. One is
日本茶
Japanese tea,
日本 means Japan and 茶 means tea. So 日本茶
and another one is
紅茶
black tea, which is interesting because the characters are actually red tea,
Right.
the kanji characters for this word.
So different people has a different perception for colors.
Yes, that's one of the key points. You'll come across this time and time again, especially with blue and green in Japanese. Now, Naomi-sensei, when you say nihoncha, Japanese tea, what kind of teas do you envision?
緑茶かな? I think 緑茶 green tea.
I think that's the image too many people have of Japanese tea. But there are also other varieties of Japanese tea that aren't green.
Right.
Okay, what's the next word?
お客様
Customer, sir, ma'am. But it's a polite way to say customer.
Right. The word 客 is actually customer.
Oh, the first syllable is the polite prefix we just spoke about, and it makes the following noun polite. Kyaku is customer, and sama is a polite suffix.
Sama is like san, Mr. or Ms, but sama is even more polite.
Very formal.
So お客様 means something like Mr. or Ms. valued customer.
It's interesting because the word is actually kyaku, as Naomi said, but it has a prefix and a suffix. So kyaku becomes okyakusama. Now, Japanese shop clerks and people who work in the service industry are usually very, very polite to customers. So if you're out at a nice restaurant or you're staying at a hotel, you're going to hear this word again and again.
お客様
Last, we have an expression,
大丈夫
meaning all right, okay. In the dialogue we have,
大丈夫ですか?
are you okay? Are you all right?
Actually, the topic is missing from this sentence. It should be あなたは大丈夫ですか?
Are you okay? Anata means you, but saying anata is too direct. In Japanese, there's this roundaboutness,
Mm-hmm.
this kind of vagueness, and to directly refer to somebody is a little strong.
Yeah. The vaguer the sentence is, the more polite it gets.
So in this sentence, the subject and the topic marking particle are omitted.
Right. 大丈夫ですか? Are you okay?
On to the grammar section. In this lesson, you'll learn how to ask for something using,
お願いします.
literally translated, I'm begging. And we'll also learn the usage of the particle wa to abbreviate questions.
First, let's take a look at the usage of お願いします, shall we?
Okay, let's take a look. In the last lesson, we learned some common phrases that incorporate the phrase お願いします. This time, we'll learn how to ask for something using,
お願いします.
all you have to do is put お願いします after the noun to ask for that item. In this case, it's the equivalent of please.
Mhm.
Now, in the examples in the dialogue, we didn't use any particle, but the direct object particle お can be used after the item being requested, but it's not necessary. We're going to clear that up in a second. First and foremost, お願いします here is used as please.
So, remember in the conversation we had, 日本茶お願いします.
Japanese tea, please. But literally, Japanese tea, I'm begging. So please.
In the dialogue, we also had 紅茶お願いします.
Black tea, please. Again, noun followed by.
お願いします.
We also had
砂糖お願いします.
sugar, please. Again, noun お願いします.
Right.
You can even point to something and say
お願いします.
this, please,
Or これお願いします.
which we looked at in the previous lesson.
Right.
This, please, noun お願いします. So Naomi-sensei, this is probably a pretty important one for a lot of people. How do you say coffee, please?
コーヒーお願いします.
Now, how about coffee and Japanese tea, please? Key point here, and.
コーヒーと日本茶お願いします.
When you want two items, insert the particle to, meaning and, between the items.
Right. コーヒーと日本茶 means coffee and Japanese tea.
Okay, on to our next grammar point.
The usage of は
In spoken Japanese, it's very common to shorten phrases to only what is necessary. By leaving out what is already understood, your Japanese will sound more natural. We spoke about this in the previous lesson. I think the best way to illustrate this is with an example. Now, in the dialogue we had, Toyota-san stated his profession and then asked Ashley about hers with the phrase,
アシュリーさんは
literally translated, Ashley? But Toyota-san's implying Ashley and your profession? So that topic was already established from the previous answer. They're speaking about professions. So using someone's name and attaching wa with rising intonation is a very common way to ask someone a question that they just asked you, or to ask someone about a topic being discussed.
Is it similar to English, how about you?
Right, I think it's very similar.
Okay, maybe we can do the short example dialogue here.
Sure.
ピーターさんの出身はどこですか? Where are you from, Peter?
出身はニューヨークです. I'm from New York. Naomi-sensei wa? How about you, Naomi-sensei?
千葉です.
I'm from Chiba. So Naomi asked me about my hometown using a full sentence.
ピーターさんの出身はどこですか?
I answered a question and I asked the same question by using her name plus the topic marking particle wa. Naomi-sensei wa? And what comes after that was, where's your hometown? But that was implied by my question. So I have this term for it. I call it the magical wa. Because really, you just need a person's name followed by wa, and whatever the topic is being discussed or whatever the question that was just asked, everything's implied. So you don't need to know how to say, where's your hometown? All you need to know is that the topic is talking about hometowns. So how about you, Naomi-sensei? So we established how about you, Naomi-sensei, but what's implied is, where's your hometown? Whatever the question being discussed is, that's tacked on. It's implied here. Okay, let's recap with the quiz. The quiz will be multiple choice. We'll give you a question and 3 possible answers. Your job is to guess the answer. First question. How do you say Japanese tea? A.
お客様
B.
日本茶
C.
砂糖
The answer is?
B. 日本茶。
Naomi-sensei, there was a hint in there.
なんで? Why?
The word Japanese tea is almost a direct translation.
That's true.
So, Nihon is Japan, and cha is tea. So, Japan tea, Japanese tea. Question 2.
Which phrase means coffee please?
A.
コーヒーと紅茶。
B.
コーヒーお願いします。
C.
それはコーヒーですか?
The answer is?
B. コーヒーお願いします。
Again, coffee, please.
Before we go, there's a chart for temperature-related adjectives in the lesson notes.
At the bottom of the lesson notes, there's a write-up and list of adjectives which are used to describe the temperature.
There you can learn how to say hot, cold, warm, cool in Japanese.
So be sure to check the lesson notes. In the next lesson, we'll talk about the temperature. So we're confident you'll find those adjectives useful.
じゃあまた. See you!
Listen to the entire conversation once again.
僕はフォトジャーナリストです。
すごい!
アシュリーさんは？
Black tea, coffee, or Japanese tea?
あ、日本茶お願いします。
日本茶ですね。はい、どうぞ。お客様は？
紅茶お願いします。
お砂糖とミルクは？
お願いします。あちっ！
大丈夫ですか? 暑いですか? あちまずいです。しー。
Practice with the review track.
フォトジャーナリスト、
Photojournalist.
フォトジャーナリスト、フォトジャーナリスト。すごい、
Wow. Great. Amazing.
すごい、すごい。日本茶、
Japanese tea.
にほん茶、日本茶。まずい、
Tastes bad. Distasteful.
まずい、まずい。お客様、
Customer.
お客さま、お客様。
Black tea.
紅茶、こう茶、紅茶。
Sugar.
砂糖、さとう、砂糖。
Milk.
ミルク、みるく、ミルク。
It's hot.
あち、あち、あち。
All right. Okay.
大丈夫、だいじょうぶ、大丈夫。
Hot.
暑い、あつい、暑い。
Lesson 5.
Naomi-sensei, how can we describe the weather in this lesson?
暑いです。すごい暑いですね。
Hot. Very hot.
Yeah, very.
In this lesson, it's 30 degrees Celsius, or about 90 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's one of this lesson's targets, describing temperature.
In this lesson, we're quickly going to go over how to say the date, day, and temperature in Japanese. And we'll also introduce the very formal form of the copula. Again, the copula is the English equivalent of to be. And the very formal version is?
でございます。
This conversation takes place
飛行機。
On the plane, which is now on the runway in Japan.
Yeah, 成田空港。
Narita International Airport. First you'll hear
機長のアナウンス。
announcement from the captain. Next you'll hear the conversation between
アシュリーさんとイチローさん。
Ashley and Ichiro. The captain is using very formal Japanese. Ashley and Ichiro are using
Formal Japanese.
For this lesson, we recommend that you reference Appendix 2, 3, and 4.
皆様、機長の日野でございます。成田国際空港8月16日日曜日。時間は午後3時10分でございます。天気は晴れ、気温は摂氏30度でございます。
30度？寒い。
いえ、暑いです。摂氏30度です。
摂氏？
摂氏はセルシアスです。摂氏30度は華氏86度です。
One time slowly.
皆様、機長の日野でございます。成田国際空港8月16日日曜日。時間は午後3時10分でございます。天気は晴れ、気温は摂氏30度でございます。
30度？寒い。
いえ、暑いです。摂氏30度です。
摂氏。
摂氏はセルシアスです。摂氏30度は華氏86度です。
Now with the English translation.
皆様、機長の日野でございます。
Hello, everyone. This is your captain, Hino speaking.
成田国際空港8月16日日曜日。
At Narita Airport, it's Sunday, August 16th.
時間は午後3時10分でございます。
The local time is 10 after 3 in the afternoon.
天気は晴れ、気温は摂氏30度でございます。
It's sunny and the temperature is 30 degrees Celsius.
30度？
What? 30 degrees?
寒い。
That's cold.
いえ、暑いです。
No, it's hot.
摂氏30度です。
It's 30 degrees Seshi.
摂氏？
What's Seshi?
摂氏はセルシアスです。
Seshi means Celsius.
摂氏30度は華氏86度です。
30 degrees Celsius is 86 degrees Fahrenheit.
すごいですね。It sounds so authentic, but I'd say there's too much information. Month, date, day, time, weather, and temperature.
Naomi-sensei, but that's what's so good about this course. This is a real-life, authentic conversation. It's not sugar-coated. We're not making it super easy. This is what you'll hear when you arrive in Japan by plane. And in addition, we made the appendix, so you can reference the appendix, learn about the dates, the time, the temperature, then listen to the lesson again.
If that's the case, maybe it's not too bad.
Naomi-sensei,
はい。
in the United States, we use Fahrenheit.
You mean 華氏
Fahrenheit. But in Japan, people use Celsius.
which is 摂氏 So maybe you have to learn the Celsius system. I mean, 摂氏 system.
You definitely have to learn that system when you come to Japan.
ですね。
So, Naomi-sensei, can we go over the terms one more time? Maybe break them down?
Sure. 摂氏
Is Celsius,
華氏
is Fahrenheit,
and 度
means degree.
Right.
Naomi-sensei, do is the same do as in もう一度お願いします, right?
そうですね。Good point. But 度 here is a counter for degree of temperature or angle. But 度 as in もう一度お願いします means time, as in like once, twice, 3 times.
So, 一度 could mean once or 1 degree.
Right.
Do is one of the counters covered in appendix number 7.
はい。
Okay, on to the vocabulary. First word.
皆様、
Everyone, ladies and gentlemen.
み、な、さ、ま、皆様、
Next.
機長、
Plane captain.
き、ちょ、う、機長、
Next.
時間、
Time.
じ、か、ん、時間、
Next.
晴れ、
Sunny.
は、れ、晴れ、
Next.
寒い、
Cold.
さ、む、い、寒い。
Let's have a closer look at the usage for some of the words and phrases in this lesson. Naomi-sensei, the first word we'll look at is
皆様、
everyone. Everybody
みな、
means all. And as we learned in the previous lesson,
様、
is a very polite suffix, just like,
さん、
but even more polite than.
さん. So it's like Mr. or Ms., everyone, or maybe ladies and gentlemen.
I like that one.
And 皆様 is very formal.
And you can also say 皆さん, right?
あ、そうですね. Right. 皆さん is formal. 皆様 is even more formal.
So when the captain was speaking the dialogue, he used
皆様.
ladies and gentlemen. Naomi-sensei, how about in a casual situation?
We say みんな. We usually insert sound in the middle. みんな. みんな.
So you really stress that N in the middle.
Right. But you cannot say みんなさん or みんな様. You can put only in a casual situation.
So for very, very polite situations, it's
皆様.
for polite situations
皆さん.
and for informal, casual situations,
みんな.
folks or guys. Hey guys.
はい.
Minna. Next, we'll look at the phrase
8月16日月曜日.
Monday, August 16th. But let's look at the order. The order is very important in Japanese.
First, I said 8月
The month, August, followed by
16日
the date. In this case, the 16th.
and 月曜日.
The day, Monday. So in Japanese, it goes from big to small.
そうですね.
Month, date, day.
Right.
And just quickly, Naomi-sensei, if we wanted to put the year, that would go
Year is the biggest one, so the first.
year, month, day.
Right.
Now, gatsu is a counter for months. In Japanese, the month system is very logical. In English, we have all these different names, January, February, March. A little confusing, but in Japanese, it's super logical. We just use a number and the counter for months.
月
So January is the first month.
1月
1 plus the month counter. January. February is the second month, so 2 and month counter, which is
月 So 2月
March. Third month is,
3月
and so on.
We have a special name for each month in Japanese too, but it's not used on a daily basis anymore.
The names of the months and dates are covered in Appendix 3, and the days of the weeks are covered in Appendix 4. Next we have
午後3時10分
3:30 p.m. Let's break this down.
午後
p.m.,
3
3
時
o'clock. So
3時
is 3 o'clock, followed by
10
10
分
minute. So
10分
is 10 minutes. So literally p.m., 3 o'clock, 10 minutes. And of course, it's 3:10 p.m.
And please be careful of the position for 午後
It comes in the front.
Right.
So 3 p.m. would be,
午後3時
3 a.m. would be,
AM is 午前 So 午前3時
3 a.m.
PM is 午後 AM is 午前 Noon is 正午 And there's a list in Appendix 2.
How to tell time in Japanese is covered in Appendix 2. Okay, on to the next vocabulary word.
暑い
Hot. We covered atsui in the previous lesson. Is this the same word?
Yes and no. because the pronunciation is the same, but the kanji is different. The atsui we covered in the previous lesson means hot to the touch and can be used to talk about liquids. But this lesson's atsui is used for air temperature.
In this lesson's dialogue, we also have
寒い
means cold when talking about air temperature.
Right, like 今日は寒いです
Today it's cold or it's cold today. On to the grammar section. In this lesson, you learn how to use the copula, equivalent to the verb to be in English, and become familiar with its different forms.
And also, you'll learn how to use your name along with your title or company you belong to.
Let's start with the Japanese equivalent to the verb to be. In Japanese, the copula is used in two ways. We'll focus on the meaning of to be, as in I am, you are, he is, she is, it is, etc. In Japanese, there are 3 different politeness levels.
Which are informal, formal, and honorific. Or maybe I should call it extra formal or super formal.
I kind of like that one, super formal. Which means there are 3 different variations of the copula, the Japanese equivalent of the verb to be. Naomi-sensei, what's the formal form we've already covered?
です。as in, 一郎はフォトジャーナリストです。
Ichiro is a photojournalist. Now, can you introduce the informal form of the copula?
Sure. In informal speech, です becomes だ。
Da. Not bad at all. 1 syllable. Now, can we have the formal sample sentence you just gave us in informal speech?
一郎はフォトジャーナリストだ。
Ichiro is a photojournalist. Notice how the translation doesn't change. It means the same exact thing. It's just the politeness level. So we covered the formal form, then we covered the informal form. Now let's look at that ultra formal, that super formal version you spoke about. What is that super formal version?
でございます。
Can you just break that down?
でございます。でございます。So, 一郎はフォトジャーナリストです becomes 一郎はフォトジャーナリストでございます。
Ichiro is a photojournalist. And again, the meaning doesn't change. It's just a different level of politeness. Naomi-sensei, when would we use this?
I'd say in a business situations.
And this term you'll hear again and again throughout the series.
Right.
Can you give us a sample from the dialogue?
Sure. The captain said, 機長の日野でございます。
This is your captain, Hino, speaking. So it means the same thing as?
機長の日野です。
It means the same exact thing. It's just that de gozaimasu is much more polite. Think of it like this. He's addressing the whole plane. So he wants to be super formal. Okay, Naomi-sensei, on to our next grammar point.
はい。の as in 機長の日野 is our next grammar point.
Right. In lesson 3, we learned how to use no to show possession. Now we'll learn how to use it to indicate one title or the company that they belong to.
Give you a title or company name, followed by particle no, and then say your name.
Title,
No,
name, or name of the company,
no.
name.
For example, in Ashley's case, Ashley is working for Nessan. So, Nessan no Ashley.
Literally, Nessan's Ashley or Ashley of Nessan. But still, it's kind of like she belongs to the company.
So, if she wants to introduce her name with the company, the sentence would be 私は日産のアシュリーです。
I'm Ashley of Nessan. It sounds a bit like archaic, back from the Middle Ages or something. Ashley of Essex. But it's the concept we want to get you familiar with, that this sense of belonging to a place or a company. Let's recap this lesson with a quiz. The quiz will be multiple choice. We'll give you a question and 3 possible answers. Your job is to guess the answer, okay? First question. How do you say hot in Japanese? A,
暑い、
B,
午後、
C.
午前。
The answer is?
A、暑い。
So this word also appeared in the previous lesson, right?
はい、そうです。暑い is hot.
Okay, next question. Which of the following expressions is the most polite for saying everyone? A,
皆さん、
B,
皆様、
C.
みんな。
The answer is
B, 皆様、
we just learned the suffix sama is more polite than the suffix san. So,
皆様 is the most polite.
minna is a casual way to say everyone. It's kind of like guys or folks or y'all.
So in the next lesson, Ashley and Ichiro will be exchanging business cards, which is 名刺 in Japanese.
So you'll learn some useful expressions when you exchange business cards.
じゃあまた。
Listen to the entire conversation once again.
皆様、機長の日野でございます。成田国際空港8月16日日曜日。時間は午後3時10分でございます。天気は晴れ。気温は摂氏30度でございます。
30度？寒い。
いえ、暑いです。摂氏30度です。
摂氏？
摂氏はセルシアスです。摂氏30度は華氏86度です。
Practice with the review track.
と、
Degree.
と、皆様、
Everyone, ladies and gentlemen.
み、な、さ、ま、皆様。機長、
Plane captain.
き、ちょ、う、機長。成田、
Narita.
な、り、た、成田。国際空港、
International airport.
こ、く、さ、い、く、う、こ、う。国際空港。時間、
Time.
じ、か、ん。時間。午後、
Afternoon. PM.
午後。天気、
Weather.
て、ん、き、天気。
Sunny.
晴れ、は、れ、晴れ。
Cold.
寒い、さ、む、い、寒い。
Hot.
暑い、あ、つ、い、暑い。
Sunday.
日曜日、に、ち、よ、う、び。日曜日。
Temperature.
気温、き、お、ん。気温。
Celsius.
摂氏、せ、し、摂氏。
Fahrenheit.
華氏、か、し、華氏。
Lesson 6.